Charlotte, North Carolina. This is how it looked yesterday at Bank of America Stadium. Walkthroughs for the Florida State Seminoles and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets preparing for the big game tonight. Kickoff 8 o'clock. The winner, your ACC champs, and the winner is going to the Orange Bowl. 12 teams. Only 2 remain. For Florida State, the road has been cleared, destined from the start.
Green may go to the house. Rashad Green, touchdown, Florida State.
Jimbo, Fischel, and the Seminoles seek to win their first ACC title since 2005.
To get to BCS and everything else, you got to win your conference.
For Georgia Tech, the path has been tough.
And the Georgia Tech season begins as the last one ended with an excruciating overtime loss.
But the Yellow Jackets were able to erase a 1-3 start by winning their last 4 ACC contests. Now the 2 programs descend upon Charlotte, both seeking to etch themselves in ACC lore. 2 teams with one goal: to win an ACC championship. This is ACC Kickoff Live.
He's gonna go all the way for 6. Touchdown, Georgia Tech. Got it! Touchdown! Wow, what a catch!
Welcome to the ACC Digital Network studio for a special final ACC Kickoff Live for this season, just down the road here in Charlotte tonight. The Atlantic Division champs, the Florida State Seminoles, against the winners of the Coastal Division, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, with ACC greats Dorsey, Levens, and Riley Skinner. I'm Jeff Fischel. If it matters in this game, we will explain why. Okay, maybe that's not so simple, but that's exactly what we'll do. So here's what's on tap. Brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. We get a visit from one of Georgia Tech's biggest fans, and I do mean big. The Yellow Jackets' all-time sack leader, Marco Coleman. He went on to an incredible NFL career. We have breaking news on NC State's search for a new coach. That's coming up. It's one of the big coaching moves in the conference. Louisville is coming to the ACC, what that means for the future of the conference. And we talked to Tajh Boyd about being named ACC Player of the Year. And guys, wait till you hear his answer about what his thoughts are about the NFL. It's definitely our first big news of the day, and we'll find out which way he might be leaning. All right, guys, before we get to X's and O's, we know these players are going through a lot emotionally because they're thinking about the Orange Bowl. In fact, can we zoom in on Riley's tie? Riley, show off that tie.
I don't know if you want to. It's my special Orange Bowl tie. Got this when we played in the 2007 Orange Bowl. Tis the season. Tis the season.
All right, so that's what guys are playing for, a tie. No, that's not what they're playing for. It's pride to get to the Orange Bowl. But Riley, what's it mean to go to a big game and play in an ACC title game?
Well, I think you got to look at what is at stake here. When I played in the ACC Championship Game in 2006, I distinctly remember sitting in my locker 2 hours before the game, looking over the playbook. I was trying to read the script and know what we were going to do on offense. All I kept doing was just imagining in my head throwing that game-winning touchdown or making that game-winning run to really set the tone and win the game. And you got to realize that it don't matter how you got to this game. It's what you can do after. What you're going to be named an ACC champion. For the rest of your life, you can get this game. There's a lot of butterflies. There's a lot of anticipation in both those locker rooms.
I get asked a lot, what do I miss most about football? What I miss is the big game. Waking up on championship Saturday or Sunday, not being able to sleep the night before, anxious, just getting ready to go out there, have fun, and let the chips fall where they may. Just go out there and play hard-nosed football to the best of your ability and see what happens. But that's what I really miss about a day like this, just going out there getting ready to play.
And he knows what he's talking about. Dorsey, not in 1, not in 2, but 3 Super Bowls.
Yes, sir.
He's been there in big games. All right, Dorsey and Riley know what it takes to be a champion. The Noles hoping they can prove it tonight. Dorsey, the most anticipated ACC regular season. Sorry, Riley, let's start with you. It started off against Wake Forest in the ACC.
Well, this was the Chris Thompson show. Early on, almost 200 yards on 9 carries from Chris Thompson, 2 touchdowns, and on defense just physically dominated the Demon Deacons.
Dorsey, then it was the most anticipated ACC regular season game against Clemson.
Absolutely. Number 4, Florida State versus number 10, Clemson. Very big game. Clemson, remember, was up in this game 31-28 late in the third quarter, but FSU scores 35 points in the second half. E.J. Manuel, 380 yards, mentioned in the Heisman conversation after that.
Riley, 2 weeks later, NC State, the Noles led 16-0.
Well, this is a tale of 2 halves, and I think it came down to play calling for Florida State. They only threw the ball over more than 10 yards 3 times in the second half, let the foot off the gas. Mike Glennon was superb in that second half as well.
But after the loss, Dorsey, the Noles did respond well.
Yeah, once again, a close game in the fourth quarter, but Miami native Devontae Freeman goes crazy. 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. They have 447 total yards of offense, Florida State, and they hold Miami to only 29 yards rushing.
Last month, Virginia Tech took them to the final seconds. E.J. Manuel to Rashad Green for the game-winning touchdown. Noles finishing the regular season 10-2, 7-1 in the ACC. They are your Atlantic Division champs. These are the vital signs for these two teams. We know all about Georgia Tech's offense, all run. That triple option is number 1 in the ACC, number 3 in the country. The Florida State defense is dominant, first in the conference against the run and pass. But the Noles will be missing a huge part of their defense tonight. Kelly Nash is at Bank of America Stadium. She has this injury update.
That's right, Jeff. The Seminoles will be missing their leading tackler today, Tank Carradine. He tore his ACL last weekend against the Gators. But the special thing about this Seminoles defense is their depth. And their depth at defensive end will look to ease the loss of Carradine today. Here's Coach Jimbo Fischel on who he needs to step up.
You're going to have Giorgio. You're going to have to Mario, Tajh, Stevens, all those guys. And, you know, it's just a great opportunity for those guys to step up. Just like when Brandon went down, we were worried. Can Tank really have that kind of year? Well, he did. We have other great players. And it's not going to just be that defensive end. It's going to be collectively as a defense, all the things we have to do. And, football's not a one-man game. And that's the great thing about football.
As you guys heard, there isn't just one guy Coach Fischel hopes will play well today in Carradine's absence, but you did hear him mention Mario Edwards Jr. He was the top recruit in this year's signing class. He's played 9 games, has 7 total tackles, and he could get the start today.
Kelly, thank you. No Tank Carradine. And, of course, Brandon Jenkins out early in the season as well with a season-ending injury. He was a preseason second-team All-American. So, Riley, Jimbo Fischel, he does not have as much experience up front on that defensive line as he would like, but do you still expect them to act and play like a top 10 defense?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about this Florida State defense. Their resume speaks for itself. They lead the nation with 61 3-and-outs. They've got the athletic ability, size, and strength, but when you play a triple option defense, it's not all about the instincts. It is not all about making the athletic plays and kind of doing your own thing. It's assignment football, and that's where coaching is key. And with Coach Stoops, going to Kentucky makes me a little nervous that there's been a lot of distractions. Dorsey, we talked earlier, they've got a lot of things going on right now on the defensive side of the football that when you play this triple option, you've got to know your assignments. You have to play your assignments. If you got to tackle the fullback 10 times in a row who never has the football, you got to do it. You cannot take away that assignment or else they can go 30 on you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in this offense or defensively against Tech. You have to be disciplined because you're going to see a triple option running attack that they're not used to seeing. Last week against Georgia, I think Georgia did a great job of stuffing the triple option for Georgia Tech. But let's keep in mind, Georgia played Georgia Southern the week before they played Georgia Tech. And you see the keys on the running back and you can't throw it to them. So Georgia has some time to prepare for Georgia Tech's option attack. Florida State doesn't have that. We talked about Mark Stoops not being there. Well, he's going to be there, but he's taking a job with Kentucky. I think Georgia Tech is going to have a little more success against Florida State because Florida State's got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're breaking this game down in every way. So what do you expect to happen tonight? Tweet us at the ACCDN, and in just a couple of minutes, we will have a special surprise guest. It's a longtime NFL star who's definitely rooting for one of these teams. That's coming up. But first, the conference has had some huge other news this week. Louisville is coming to the ACC. Conference leaders say the Cardinals sports teams are a great fit. In football, you're talking about a team that's likely headed to the Orange Bowl to face tonight's winner. And Louisville is a hoops powerhouse year after year. Commissioner John Swafford says Cardinals sports teams, they're a perfect fit.
I think anybody that's been to Louisville recently, and I've talked to many people that have been there, some of our teams in the ACC now have played there over the last few years, and everyone I talk to comes back with a wow factor in terms of the facilities at Louisville. Part of what you say about Louisville athletically holds true academically. I think it's a school that is enhancing its academic profile every day. It has great leadership. It has great energy, and just generally speaking, the university as a whole is one that you look at and say all the arrows are pointing upward.
All right, guys, very simply, what do you think about Louisville coming to the ACC, Dorsey?
Oh, I love it. You know, basketball, obviously they are what they are in basketball, a great tradition, but football, they're playing extremely well right now. They're 10-2 this year. Charlie Strong is an outstanding coach. You know, they're going to go to either the Sugar Bowl or the Orange Bowl this year. One of the things that worry me about Louisville, though, they don't come into the conference until 2014, and Charlie Strong is such a hot football coach. It's going to take a lot for Louisville to keep him in Louisville.
Yeah, absolutely. What he's done to that program is unbelievable. You know, following Bobby Petrino and getting the program back to where it was when he was the coach. I love this. I love what Louisville brings. And one of the other reasons, geographically, I like what they bring. I like kind of bringing it back down in the southeast area because, you know, we're adding a lot of these teams that are in the northeast. And I think, you know, I didn't want to get too concentrated up in the northeast, you know, continue adding teams. I love what Louisville brings, like Commissioner Walford said, football, you know, basketball, all along the sports. They're a perfect fit, and I couldn't be, you know, happier with who we got.
There's no doubt fans in the Southeast love their college football, no doubt about it. So where does Louisville fit into the ACC's divisions? I can explain, but it takes a big stack of scratch paper to make it all make sense. That's coming up.
When you lose those close games like that early, you dig yourself a hole and you have to fight out.
The Yellow Jackets are still standing, but it has not been anything like Paul Johnson expected. Georgia Tech's head man joins us next. December means big football games, big coaching changes, and one ACC coach is getting a big promotion, while two schools have decided it's time to move on. Plus,
Lean, mean, touchdown throwing machine tonight, and he's got another one.
Tajh Boyd speaks out about being named ACC Player of the Year and whether he'll come back to try for a repeat. ACC Digital Network brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
It will be Georgia Tech and Florida State in the ACC Championship.
Here's what's happening in the ACC now.
That's great for the entire conference.
Kelly Nash here with breaking news.
Google Hangouts cover ACC sports. Get your ACC action. Subscribe to the ACC Digital Network channel on YouTube. I'm Jeff Fischel with another ACC Now and Then brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Two explosive teams, Florida State and Georgia Tech, battle Saturday night in the 2012 ACC Championship Game. The Seminoles have been ACC champs just once since the conference began having a title game. It was 2005. That year, Florida State won the inaugural ACC Championship Game, beating Virginia Tech 27-22.
Brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Enjoy our new mixed grill special starting at $11.99.
Why not try someplace different every morning? Get 2 times the points on dining in restaurants with Chase Sapphire Preferred.
You can't keep greatness in a box, so we won't. The ACC mobile app presented by Carrabba's. Imagine seeing this on this. That's greatness. For the ACC schools you live for, it's the app you can't live without. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Nokia Lumia Windows Phone. The ACC mobile app, live games, videos, scores, stats, news, and greatness. Visit theacc.com/apps.
At the Jeep Summer Clearance event, you can make this summer your time. Time to find your power and lose your doubts. Time to steer clear of the ordinary and make room for the extraordinary. Just like the deals you'll find at the Jeep Summer Clearance event.
Bank of America Stadium. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets trying to shock Florida State and all of college football. One defensive coordinator fired, 2 quarterbacks, 3 options every time they run the ball, 4 quarters away from being ACC champs. They've only won the conference championship game one time. It was 2009 in Tampa versus Clemson. The Tigers had running back C.J. Spiller, and he was unstoppable. Over 200 yards rushing, the game's MVP. 4 of the 5 longest runs in ACC title game history were by Spiller in that game. But with under 2 minutes to play, Jonathan Dwyer scored the game-winning touchdown. Yellow Jackets win 39-34. This is ACC Kickoff Live. I'm Jeff Fischel. During the break, we made a trade. Riley and a draft pick for Georgia Tech great Marco Coleman. Marco, thanks for joining us. You were down at Fan Fest for the ACC Championship Game today between Georgia Tech and Florida State. Now you're working for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right?
Yes, I am.
Doing pre- and post-game shows for them. Marco, you and Dorsey were teammates at Georgia Tech, so I know you guys are both fired up for tonight.
Definitely.
Give me a sense of how exciting this is for you to see your Yellow Jackets in the championship game.
Really excited. It's an opportunity to get a little respect, actually. You know, the way they got into it, it's a lot of talk of how they didn't deserve to be here. So a big win will make a big difference.
Yeah, all right, let's check out how they got there. This season has been a wild ride for the Yellow Jackets. Marco, we should have known it'd be a little crazy right after the opening game overtime loss to Virginia Tech.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it was a high-scoring game, a really good game that you figure after a big play in overtime, you know, the big stop on defense against my guy, Tevin, you know, they end up taking the game. I was surprised. I thought Georgia Tech was going to pull it out.
Dorsey, 3 weeks later against Miami, another overtime loss.
Yeah, it was a weird game. Remember this game? Miami scored the first 19 points. Georgia Tech scored the next 36. Then Miami scored the final 23. Defensively, Georgia Tech struggled, giving up 609 total yards on defense. But Tevin Washington did pass for 132 yards.
Marco, after the loss to Clemson, did you think this team could save the season?
I thought they could, especially when I saw the type of plays they were making prior to, getting to Clemson. It wasn't going real well, but you figure this game you had 1,083 yards combined with two teams. It was a high-flying game, exciting game.
Then the turnaround starts, Dorsey, the highest scoring game in ACC history.
Yep, a record 118 points. Once again, over 1,000 yards of total offense. Defense has not been really strong for Georgia Tech, but bad lead. Rushes for over 100, passes for over 100, and has 3 touchdowns.
Georgia Tech finished conference play strong, 42-24 over Duke, a 4th straight ACC win, and a Coastal title. I spoke to Paul Johnson about everything this team has been through. Jeff Fischel here for the ACC Digital Network with Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson. Coach, it's been an interesting year for you guys, but you've gotten where you wanted to be, but it's been an interesting journey, I'd say, to say the least. What's it been like for the team this year, overcoming some challenges?
Well, it's been a real roller coaster year. I think it's kind of been a tale of two halves of the season. We dug ourselves quite a hole early on, and then the last half of the season we were able to win 4 conference games in a row, 2 of them on the road. So I was proud of our guys for fighting back.
Do you say anything to the team when you're 1-3 in the conference about changing the direction?
Well, we didn't talk a lot about the conference. We talked about the next game, but that's generally the way we approach it regardless. And, our philosophy has been you don't really talk about, playoffs or championship games until you get to November anyway.
Okay, so you're taking on Florida State. What specifically interesting challenges, difficult challenges, do the Seminoles pose for you guys?
Well, there's a lot of challenges. I think defensively they're top 10 in almost every category. They have tremendous team speed. And offensively, a veteran, experienced quarterback, good set of wide receivers, and, they're a really good football team, so it'll be a huge challenge. And possibly the best kicker in the country on top of that.
Right. Offensively, you found a way to balance getting Vad Lee into the game, still getting Tevin Washington a lot of time. Do you make a game plan for that ahead of time, or do you just kind of feel it out as the game goes on?
No, we've kind of had a plan going in each game where they played a couple of series each, and, we'll kind of continue to do that.
And specifically, you have a plan for that for the championship game as well?
We do.
Okay. And what do you tell your team about the big game? Is there a different way to approach a game like that?
Well, it's just a great opportunity for us. And, it's a chance to play for the conference championship. And, there's probably 100 teams in the country that would love to swap places with us. And so I don't know that a lot of people give us a chance, but we think we have a chance to win the game, so we're going to show up and compete.
Let's talk about the 3 keys to this game. Dorsey, starting on offense, is there a secret weapon Georgia Tech has for tonight to go against Florida State?
Well, I don't think he's so much of a secret weapon, but I think you got to go to quarterback Bad Lee. He's the guy who was the best passer on this football team. Against this team like Florida State, who's ranked 2nd in total defense, 4th against the run, you got to be able to mix it up a little bit. You can't be one-dimensional and be the defense that great, and it all falls on Bad Lee's shoulders.
Right. It doesn't mean they're going away from their bread and butter. They still need that offense to churn out yards, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That is their bread and butter. Like we talked about, they're 3rd in the country running the football, and that's how they win football games. So they got to stick to that, whether it be Tevin Washington, who's broke an ACC record this year for touchdown scored by a quarterback, or whether it's Bad Lee. Obviously, we're not sure about what Orwin, whether or not he's going to play.
Right.
So those guys still got to continue to keep the running game going.
Sure. Now, Marco, you're a defensive guy. The Yellow Jackets 84th in the nation this year, giving up about 31 points a game. They've got to do something different, right? What can they do to slow down Florida State?
Well, we got a couple guys at the linebacker position that's going to have to show up big. You got Kayshawn Neely, big play linebacker. He's got to come up with some big plays. He leads the linebackers in tackles. He's going to have to be big today. And then my man Jeremiah Tajh. He leads the team in sacks and also tackles for losses. Those are the type of plays that are going to be needed in order for them to get this win.
All right, Marco, before you go, we have Riley coming back.
Okay.
But I need to know, what's your prediction for tonight for the game?
My prediction for the game is Georgia Tech win, of course.
There you go.
About 45-31.
So a lot of points. Georgia Tech put a lot of points on the board and perhaps slow down that Florida State offense just enough.
That's
Marco,
right.
thanks for coming by. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure the fans love seeing you out at FanFest. Do you agree with Marco? Who wins tonight? Tweet us at the ACCDN. Georgia Tech and NFL great Marco Coleman. It was great seeing him. Georgia Tech here, taking on Florida State. You've heard from the Yellow Jackets. What will it take for Georgia Tech to win this game? What about the Noles, the keys to victory? That's all coming up. You can't keep greatness in a box, so we won't. The ACC mobile app presented by Carrabba's. Imagine seeing this on this. That's greatness. For the ACC schools you live for, it's the app you can't live without. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Nokia Lumia Windows Phone. The ACC mobile app, live games, videos, scores, stats, news, and greatness. Visit theacc.com/apps. I'm Jeff Fischel with another ACC Now and Then brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Two explosive teams, Florida State and Georgia Tech, battle Saturday night in the 2012 ACC Championship Game. The Seminoles have been ACC champs just once since the conference began having a title game. It was 2005. That year, Florida State won the inaugural ACC Championship Game, beating Virginia Tech 27-22.
Brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Enjoy our new mixed grill special starting at $11.99.
Where does a great night out get even better? At the new Ruby Tuesday, with our freshly made lobster tail and steakhouse sirloin for only $14.99. Enjoy the tempting combination of sweet lobster paired with a perfectly seasoned sirloin, cooked just the way you like it and served with a free garden bar, all for only $14.99. But join us soon. A pairing this perfect won't last forever. The new Ruby Tuesday.
ACC Digital Network brought to you by Ruby Tuesday.
It will be Georgia Tech and Florida State in the ACC Championship.
Here's what's happening in the ACC now.
That's great for the entire conference.
Kelly Nash here with breaking news.
Google Hangout to cover ACC sports. Get your ACC action. Subscribe to the ACC Digital Network channel on YouTube. Here in Charlotte, it's the ACC Championship Game, and all day today, ACC Fan Fest. Florida State fans have migrated here in huge numbers for the game. Definitely saw more Seminoles than Yellow Jackets out there throughout the day. Come on, Georgia Tech fans, you've got to represent the team trying to pull off an ACC title tonight.
Culinary pairings at Ruby Tuesday with our new mixed grill special.
Florida State defensive coordinator Mark Stoops is now a head coach for the first time. He's been hired at Kentucky. Jimbo Fisher brought him in when Fisher took over as the Noles head coach. Stoops is the younger brother of Oklahoma head coach Bob Stoops and former University of Arizona head coach Mike Stoops. Mark Stoops has transformed that Florida State defense. The year before he arrived, the Noles were 108th in the country in total defense. The last 2 years in the top 5. Riley, back with us, by the way. Riley, this year's second overall in total defense in the Noles. He has this challenge, transforming Kentucky 2-10 this year.
Yeah, well, numbers speak for themselves. You saw what he was allowed to do, and the players they brought in as well, and hopefully they'll be able to do that, take the same recruiting philosophy, bring in those studs on defense, and get Kentucky going.
Stoops is coaching tonight. Then he is expected to be introduced this next week at the University of Kentucky. All right, so Dorsey, what do you think? Stoops, Kentucky, good fit?
I think it is a good fit. I mean, anytime you get a chance to be a head coach anywhere in college football, it's a great time. And like you said, the numbers speak for themselves. What he came to Florida State and did with that defense is just incredible.
Okay, so let's focus on the Noles now and tonight. Riley, what's a key you're looking for this offense?
Well, offensively, you got to stay aggressive. And by staying aggressive, I mean throwing the ball down the field to Rashad Green and Kelvin Benjamin. And that's what they didn't do against NC State. But here's a stat for you for E.J. Manuel. Over the last 2 years, he has improved his completion percentage by 18% on throws 20 yards or more. So I want to see him push the ball down the field and go to his big target, Kelvin Benjamin. I think the secondary for Georgia Tech is one of the weaker parts of their team, and I think you got to try to exploit them.
We saw the offense struggle last week and make some turnovers. Dorsey, they really need to clean that up.
Yeah, you can't have 5 turnovers and expect to win a football game. Florida State went into that game averaging over 42 points a game on offense. When you turn the ball 5 over, what it does It takes opportunities away from your offense to score points. They only scored 26 last week. And it also puts your defense in a predicament because now they got to go back out on the field 5 extra times. On the flip side of that, Georgia Tech had that one big turnover last week that I think if they don't have that, it's a different ball game. But for Florida State, can't turn the ball over 5 times and expect to win football games.
All right, Riley, let's say you're Jimbo Fisher. What have you seen in the losses to NC State and Florida that you really want to fix tonight?
Well, clearly it's a fourth quarter, and they need a fourth quarter surge no matter what, no matter where you are in the game. If you're ahead 15, you try to beat Georgia Tech by 50, and they need to keep their foot on the gas in the fourth quarter. Don't play not to lose. I mean, you look at the numbers against NC State in Florida, and they scored 0 points in the fourth quarter in both of those and 87 points versus other opponents. I mean, it's clear cut. It's about as easy as you can see. That's what you need to do in the fourth quarter. Offensively, push the ball down the field, attack them, do not let off at all, because that's when you start letting teams make a run, and they can't let Georgia Tech make a run because we've seen they put up points.
They can put up points. That's why Mark Stoops is around tonight to make sure they don't. As Stoops is taking a big job, it's been a tough week for 2 respected coaches in the ACC, veteran coaches. Tom O'Brien of North Carolina State and Boston College's Frank Spaziani, both ousted this week. The Eagles had gone 6-18 the past 2 years, so you could see the program needed a new direction. But NC State was 24-14 the past 3 years. O'Brien has a history of coaching very productive quarterbacks, and we all know that's where it starts in college football. Now both schools have started a nationwide search for a new head coach. Spaziani out at BC, O'Brien out at North Carolina State. And we actually have breaking news this afternoon. Northern Illinois coach Dave Dorn has been hired by NC State as the new head football coach. 2 years in Northern Illinois. He won MAC championships both years. Before that, Dorn was the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. Apparently, he gets a 5-year deal to become the new head coach at NC State. Does this sound like the kind of coach you wanted to find North Carolina State?
I think so. I think you want to start with a defensive guy. We know what the ACC has done this year just defensively. We struggled mightily. I mean, offense has been just running wild. So I think a guy like this who's mostly defensive guys are disciplinarians. They're motivators, guys who they pay strict attention to detail. That's the kind of guy you need if you want to win football games.
Now, NC State really has that college atmosphere, but Boston College now looking for a head coach, Riley. It's competing with pro teams' attention, people who are fans of the Red Sox, the Patriots. What does BC need to do when they're looking for a head coach?
I think you look back to what they've done, in previous years, not the last 2 or 3 because they've struggled, but when they went on that huge bowl run, and even when Tom O'Brien was there, I mean, this was a team. We played Boston College. Their best part was their defense. They kept everything in front of them. They're a very disciplined football team, and they created turnovers game after game, and that's what won them football games. I think they need to find a coach that goes back to that method, that has guys who love to fly around on the defensive side, hit you in the mouth, and have a knack for the football and offensive line. Them and Nebraska, I think, always have the 2 biggest offensive lines in the country. Haven't seen that as much in the last couple of years. Boston College needs to get that back.
BC has not been able to run the ball, that's for sure. So what do you think of Boston College? What should they do looking for a head coach? Tweet us at the ACCDN.
Demons still have a lot to accomplish and can have a great year if we play well this week.
Jimbo Fisher tries to set the tone for his Seminoles tonight after a disappointing loss to the Gators. We'll talk to him about that. Also,
to the 10, the 5, touchdown! Wow!
Vadley is seeing more and more playing time at the expense of conference record holder Tevin Washington. How will Paul Johnson handle that tonight? And
Boyd will spin it to the end zone.
No one in the ACC can stop Tajh Boyd. So why would he want to leave? We ask him if he's thinking about the NFL coming up.
Ever wonder where unforgettable experiences meet unique culinary pairings? At Ruby Tuesday with our new mixed grill special starting at $11.99. Including our new South Tropic Trio with a black fire sirloin, grilled chicken topped with fresh mango salsa, and jumbo coconut crusted shrimp, or savory ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. And our fresh garden bar comes free with any of our mixed grill specials. Ruby Tuesday, it's all good here. Plus, this season, buy $50 in Ruby Tuesday gift cards and get a $15 bonus card absolutely free.
Florida State's too good, just overall.
A fly around, dominating physical defense.
What do you think the Noles need to do?
We know what E.J. Manuel can do at quarterback.
Rashad Green for Florida State.
The German's name is Bjorn Warner.
He's got an opportunity to really spring this game wide open.
At the Jeep Summer Clearance event, you can make this summer your time. Time to find your power and lose your doubts. Time to steer clear of the ordinary and make room for the extraordinary. Just like the deals you'll find at the Jeep Summer Clearance event.
You can't keep greatness in a box, so we won't. The ACC mobile app presented by Carrabba's. Imagine seeing this on this. That's greatness. For the ACC schools you live for, it's the app you can't live without. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Nokia Lumia Windows Phone. The ACC mobile app, live games, videos, scores, stats, news, and greatness. Visit theacc.com/apps.
Good afternoon, Chase Sapphire. This is Stacy from Springfield.
Oh,
hello.
Yes, I didn't realize you'd be talking to an actual person.
You don't need to press 0. I'm here.
Reach a person, not a prompt, whenever you call Chase Sapphire.
Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte for the 2012 ACC Championship, Florida State and Georgia Tech. The winner going to the Orange Bowl. We're expecting a good crowd tonight to be fired up. Both teams seeing lots of fans ready for this one. Florida State has won the ACC title game once. It was the inaugural edition, 2005, 72,000 fans in Jacksonville. Willie Reed scored the first touchdown in ACC Championship game history on an 89-yard punt return in the third quarter. Florida State built a 27-3 lead. Virginia Tech answered with 19 straight in the fourth quarter, but it was not enough. The Noles win that one and holding on 27-22. Here at the ACC Digital Network Studios, breaking down tonight's conference clash between Florida State and Georgia Tech. I'm Jeff Fischel with Riley Skinner and Dorsey Levens. It is the 8th ACC Football Championship title game. This is the third trip for Florida State. Won that 2005 game 2 years ago. Virginia Tech got revenge. This is also Georgia Tech's third appearance. The Yellow Jackets lost to Riley's Demon Deacons in 2006.
Thanks for throwing that in there.
Then they beat Clemson 39-34 in 2009. I spoke to Jimbo Fisher yesterday about the big game. Jeff Fischel here for the ACC Digital Network with Florida State head coach Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo, first let's talk about Georgia Tech. Everyone says it's a challenge to get ready for them in a week. What worries you about the Georgia Tech offense?
Well, the same thing. I mean, you can get assignments down, but simulating the speed of it and the execution of it is a very tough thing. So hopefully we'll be very sound, and you have to be very disciplined.
Now, one challenge for you guys, obviously you lose Tank Carradine to a season-ending knee injury. How do you replace him? Can you replace him?
Well, you never replace guys. It's like we never replaced Brandon Jenkins. I mean, even though you say that we had him at the beginning of the year, Tank had a great year, but you still would have had both of them rotating and doing things. But we have other great players that are young and have developed very well during the year, and we have some great guys that we're looking forward to have the opportunity for them to perform.
Now, you guys are coming off the loss to Florida. Is it tough? Is this team taking that tough, or are they ready to move on and ready for this game?
No, we're ready to move on. We understand that each game has a one-week lifespan, and we have to move on, and we have to adapt to that because you can't let one loss become two, and we've had a great week of practice.
Now, you said before the season started when we spoke, this was a goal, right?
Yes.
So it's no problem telling this team, hey, we've gotten to where we wanted to be.
Well, we've gotten there, but we want to finish. We want to finish, and we want to win the game and play well in the game. And to win it, we have to play well. We can't focus on winning it. We have to focus on playing well and the little things we have to do for the game.
So what's the key for Florida State?
Consistency. We got to take care of the football, which we didn't do last week. Be able to run the football, have balance on offense, keep great eye violations, keep great leverage on the ball on defense, and be very sound in the kicking game.
Okay, now when we spoke during the summer, you would stop the team from tweeting. Will you let them tweet if they win?
No.
Still no?
No. Tweeting becomes too big a hassle.
So maybe after the Orange Bowl, maybe then. Still no.
We'll see.
I finally got Jimbo to say, maybe I'll let those guys go on Twitter. Jimbo just does not like Twitter.
You do, though. You do. You just keep feeding it to him.
Come on, Jimbo. Come on. All right, well, we know we've talked about it. We just talked about it a few minutes ago. Florida State having troubles in the fourth quarter. Dorsey, if there's a guy that can make sure they get going on offense, make that big play, who is it?
It's got to be Rashad Green, the wide receiver. He's the most explosive receiver on that Florida State offense. It's important that they get him involved early and often. If there's a deep play threat or deep play threat guy, it's Rashad Green. And like you said, Georgia Tech has struggled in the back end of the secondary, so there may be some opportunities for E.J. Manuel to throw the ball up there and just let Rashad Green go get it. And let's not forget about what he does in the kicking game as well, by returning the punts.
And also, don't forget about Kelvin Benjamin, my man on the other side. It looks like he's 6'12" out there. I mean,
not
if you
7
can,
feet, but
not
6'12".
7 feet, 6'12". It makes him that much taller. If you can, thanks for reminding that. If you can stretch the field with both Rashad Green and Kelvin Benjamin, I can't even say anything anymore. I brought that on myself, But along with Kelvin Benjamin and Rashad Green, if I'm Georgia Tech on defense, I think it's going to come down to that secondary. You're killing me. Stop. It comes down to the secondary because, like you said, this is, I think, the softest part of Georgia Tech's defense. And if E.J. Manuel gets going and he gets into a rhythm and they can throw the ball downfield, I think it creates problems. So if I'm Georgia Tech, I'm trying to keep everything in front of you. Play deep. Get some cushion. Don't let them have that big play and get behind your secondary, because if they do, E.J. Manuel and Kelvin Benjamin and Rashad Green can definitely beat you.
All right, so that's the big story all week long has been the ACC title game. There is the other off-the-field big story. That is Louisville joining the conference. The Cardinals will join in 2014. And remember, Pitt and Syracuse will be in the ACC next year as well. There you see how it breaks down in 2014. So much realignment going on in college sports. It's hard to keep track of it all, but I try to help. Right now, we have 12 teams in the Atlantic Coast Conference divided into two divisions, conveniently called the Atlantic and the Coastal. I guess they could be the Atlantical and the Coastal, or the Atlantic and the Coast, but they're not. Next year, the ACC grows to 14 teams, Pitt and Syracuse. And just when you thought things would settle down, you are reminded that change is constant. Maryland is leaving. And this week, Louisville was voted in. So maybe this is a great chance for realignment. How about the old ACC versus the new ACC? Or the old Big East with a touch of the old Metro. Remember the Metro Conference? But that feels a little bit like the new guys aren't really getting to hang out with the cool kids. So what about North versus South? But one of the North Carolina schools would have to go to the North. Which one? Geography was not my best subject. Okay, so Commissioner Swafford said, let's just leave the divisions the way they are and sub in Louisville for Maryland. Done. Oh, did I mention Notre Dame? All right, so I tried to help there. I don't know if I'm helpful or not, but I tried.
Did you really draw that state of North Carolina freehand? That was pretty good. Never knew
He's
that.
an artist. Who knew?
That's right. Whenever Notre Dame does join, by the way, 2014, 2015, the Irish will play 5 football games a year against ACC schools on a rotating basis. So, guys, let's get your Ruby Tuesday fresh perspective on the divisions. Dorsey, let's start with you. How would you like to see them divvied up?
I'm cool with the way they are right now. Yeah, you put Louisville in where Maryland was out. You put Syracuse in the Atlantic. You put Pitt in the Coastal. I think everything's fine. It is intriguing though to look at the old Big East teams, the biggest Big East teams.
Whatever.
To put them on one side against the original ACC, I thought that was interesting. But it does kind of keep everybody separate, and I think the mix and match ultimately is a better.
I agree. I think it's cleaner just to put Louisville where Maryland was and split Syracuse and Pitt and go on. I think if you try to mix it back up again, it becomes so conflicted and it becomes such a cluster. The only thing I would love to see all the North Carolina teams be able to play each other every year to win the Big Four, as so we used to call it. And I think that was pretty cool. When I was at Wake, we were able to play all other 3 North Carolina teams in the same year, which I think they should do. But other than that, I like it.
Yeah, right. And obviously we know college football is continuing to change.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens next? Do you have a better idea for dividing the conference? What's your realignment redistribution solution? Tweet us at the ACCDN. It's time now to meet the 2012 Players of the Year in the ACC. Dorsey, the Rookie of the Year, a running back, all-around back, Duke Johnson.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's had a great season. He finished with 1,981 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, 3rd in the ACC, and rushing, also 1st in kickoff return average.
The Defensive Rookie of the Year, Florida State cornerback Ronald Darby, taking lessons from teammate Xavier Rhodes. He had 7 passes broken up this season. He's that next great Florida State cornerback. The Defensive Player of the Year, Riley, Bjorn Werner.
Well, he earned it. If there's anybody that earned his stripes, it's Bjorn Werner. He spent the entire season, I feel like, in his opponent's backfield, and he was lethal all year.
And the Conference Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year, Tajh Boyd. He was fantastic.
We have a special guest with us this evening, Clemson QB Tajh Boyd. Tajh, the overall player of the year. What does it feel like to have your career summed up with this award?
It's a blessing. Very excited. Put a lot of work into the offseason, and the way the season worked out, it worked out pretty well for us. And it's just an honor for me to represent my school in the best way possible, so I'm excited to be here tonight.
Now, we are at the ACC Night of Legends. You're surrounded by Torrey Holt, Sam Cowart. What is it like to spend the evening surrounded by so many stars you grew up watching on the NFL?
It's great. I'm very excited about that fact as well. I mean, me just getting the overall Player of the Year award is awesome. There are so many names that came before it and so many that will come after it, but just to be mentioned as a Player of the Year is a blessing, and just excited about the fact that it happened.
Now, sticking with the NFL, you know Clemson fans are on edge about whether or not you're going to return. Do you feel like you're going to test the draft waters, or do you have more to prove as a collegiate athlete?
I'm going to test it. I submitted my paperwork, and I just kind of see what I get back from there. It's a process. Ultimately, that's going to be a big decision for me and my family and the university as well. So I'm going to sit down and talk with Coach Sweeney, my parents, and Coach Morris, and kind of work some things out.
Now, speaking of Coach Sweeney and your parents, Coach Sweeney said he'd be surprised if you left early, as well as your dad hoping you'd stay for your senior season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, everybody has opinions right now, and there's not really any factual things yet. So when the paperwork comes back and we figure out what's going on, we'll take it from there. But as of right now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
Congratulations. Best of luck moving forward, Tajh.
I appreciate that so much.
Great job, Kelly Nash, getting some breaking news. Riley, Tajh says
No,
he's testing the
Tajh,
waters.
no, don't go.
Dorsey,
No.
what do you think? Does he need another year? Is he ready?
I'm not sure if he's ready or not, but I've always been a component that you strike when the iron's hot. If you have a good season and you're able to go to the NFL, I say do it. I know Clemson fans don't want to hear that, and other fans around the country may not if your guy is eligible to go to the NFL draft, but you go to college to get a well-paying job. Mission accomplished.
Now, Kelly got the breaking news from Tajh. I tried to get the same thing out of Bjorn Werner. Are you going pro or not? He wouldn't go for it at all. He's like, you're going to have to wait with everybody else. So now, Dorsey, I know you've been talking about Gio Bernard all year. You still think Tajh is the guy, or are you sticking with Gio Bernard?
No, I'm going to go with Tajh. Gio did have a great year, and I do have a man crush on Gio Bernard, no question.
At least he admits it.
Yeah, I love running backs.
Finally,
I'm a running
at the
back.
end of the season, he admits it.
But Tajh, he deserves it. His numbers and what he's done for that team this year, he deserves it.
Riley, the other tough one, Rookie of the Year. Stephon Diggs or Duke Johnson? The voters went with Duke Johnson.
Look, we're splitting hairs here. These are two, magnificent football players. I would go with Stephon Diggs, though, but here's the reason why. You look at he was catching balls from as a receiver. He went through 5 quarterbacks. He was catching balls from a linebacker at quarterback and Sean Petty the last couple games, and he still ended up with 6 touchdowns and almost 900 yards. And then you look what he did in the return game. He did so much with so little. That was what impressed me. I would have gone with Stephon Diggs.
And you're right. We're splitting hairs. Both of them had fantastic years, amongst the leaders in the country in all-purpose yards. Coming up, from likely to play to doubtful, Kelly Nash comes back again and has an update on a key component to Georgia Tech's triple option. Will A-back Orwin Smith play? Find out next. You can't keep greatness in a box, so we won't. The ACC mobile app presented by Carrabba's. Imagine seeing this on this. That's greatness. For the ACC schools you live for, it's the app you can't live without. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Nokia Lumia Windows Phone. The ACC mobile app, live games, video, scores, stats, news, and greatness. Visit theacc.com/apps. I'm Jeff Fischel with another ACC Now and Then brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. 2 explosive teams, Florida State and Georgia Tech, battle Saturday night in the 2012 ACC Championship Game. The Seminoles have been ACC champs just once since the conference began having a title game. It was 2005. That year, Florida State won the inaugural ACC Championship Game, beating Virginia Tech 27-22.
Brought to you by Ruby Tuesday. Enjoy our new mixed grill special starting at $11.99.
The key to Saturday night's ACC Championship could be Georgia Tech's triple option.
The offense, it's like a well-oiled machine.
I think Georgia Tech's going to have some success running the football.
Bad lead provides a huge spark.
Winning is a way of life at Georgia Tech. Let's go Jackets.
Experience Ruby Tuesday's new mixed grill specials starting at $11.99, including our ribs with bacon-wrapped shrimp. Enjoy our free garden bar with any mixed grill special. Ruby Tuesday. It's all good here. This season, buy $50 in Ruby Tuesday gift cards and get a $15 bonus card absolutely free.
At the Jeep Summer Clearance Event, you can make this summer your time. Time to find your power and lose your doubts. Time to steer clear of the ordinary and make room for the extraordinary. Just like the deals you'll find at the Jeep Summer Clearance Event.
Hey, there's the ACC Digital Lounge at Bank of America Stadium. Well, is that you in there?
No, that is me.
We were all there at some point today. Dorsey, Kelly Nash, and I all there saying hi to the fans. They were getting their picture taken with the ACC Championship trophy. Florida State and Georgia Tech for the 2012 ACC Championship. The winner is headed to the Orange Bowl. The best guess right now versus Louisville or Northern Illinois. Some good news for Georgia Tech. Even if they lose tonight, they'll be 6-7, but the NCAA has granted the Yellow Jackets a waiver so they can still go to a bowl game even with a losing record. In other words, losing a conference title game won't be held against them. 6-6 in the regular season gets the job done. I'm Jeff Fischel with Riley Skinner and Dorsey Levens. The Yellow Jackets do have some injury worries going into tonight. A little while ago, Kelly Nash got the latest on Georgia Tech running back Orwin Smith.
I did, Jeff, and the latest is their leading rusher, Orwin Smith, is listed as doubtful. He missed practice on Thursday, still nursing that ankle injury he suffered 2 weeks ago in that win over Duke. Here's Coach Paul Johnson on his A-back rotation.
If he doesn't go, we kind of play that position by committee anyway, but B.J. Bostic will probably start opposite Robbie Godhigh, and we'll go again today and see if Orwin can go. I think doubtful is probably about right, but it's not final yet.
As you heard, they're going to give it a go, see how he feels today. And although Smith is their top A-back, he's averaging over 9 yards per carry. There's still plenty of depth at the position.
All right, Kelly, thanks. Dorsey, you heard Paul Johnson. It sounds like Georgia Tech A-back is a good game time decision. They could shake things up a little bit. If he can't go, how do they make up for his production, and do they change the way they use Vadley and Tevin Washington?
No, I think Paul Johnson was right when all season they've been using running back by committee, so there's not a whole lot to change. Like he said, B.J. Bostic may start in place of Orwin Smith if he can't go, but like guys like Zach Lasky and Robert Godhigh, those guys need to step up, and as well as the running backs, the quarterbacks, because they're both running quarterbacks, so both of those guys need to have big games too.
Yeah, they could have big games. The leading scorer, though, on the field tonight is a kicker, Florida State's Dustin Hopkins, third all-time in football, college football in scoring, behind two running backs. With one more field goal, he sets a new FBS career record, and Hopkins just needs 3 points tonight to set a new single-season scoring record in the ACC. We are watching greatness at a position that usually goes unnoticed unless something goes wrong. No doubt in my mind, at least, Dustin Hopkins is the greatest college kicker ever. So, Riley, who has the edge in special teams?
When I talk special teams in this game, I'm talking more on the return side. And you have Rashad Green for Florida State, and you have Jamal Golden for Georgia Tech. Both are fantastic return men. But I'm going to go with Rashad Green because Jamal Golden is 10th in the nation in kickoff returns. But Florida State's got Dustin Hopkins, and he's going to be kicking in the back of the end zone, so he might be ineffective. And it's going to come down, I think, to Rashad Green. Like, we've seen him make plays. He ran one back against Wake Forest. He has the big play capability to blow it wide open on any punt, on any kickoff. I'm going to go Florida State. And I couldn't agree more when you said Dustin Hopkins. He's one of the most invaluable players for Florida State's team. I played with a kicker in Sam Swank. When we lost him, I never realized how important it was to have a good kicker, and he's definitely probably the best in the country.
Dorsey, let's talk about the coaches in this game for a second. Paul Johnson and Jimbo Fisher. How are they different? What impact could they each have on the game tonight?
Well, I think they're both great coaches. Don't get me wrong. I think Jimbo's got to step in for Mark Stoops being gone. There's a void there. Not that he's gone, but the information that he's going to be gone may cause some confusion. And you got to think that his mind has to be somewhere in the state of Kentucky right now as well, because that's where he's going to be the head coach. For Paul Johnson, I think he's a great coach because I think he's done more with less than Jimbo. Jimbo, no question, Florida State probably has the best athletes football-wise in the ACC. But Paul Johnson, what he does year in and year out with his triple option that people see can't defend, and now Paul Johnson basically has to step in for Al Groves, the defensive coordinator, because he was fired midway through the season. So if there was an advantage, I would go with Paul Johnson.
All right, so who do you think has the edge from coaching, or who's better on special teams? Tweet us at the ACCDN. Georgia Tech fans, happy to be in Charlotte on a beautiful December day. Yellow Jackets in their third ACC title game. Georgia Tech involved in some of the great moments this season. Here's a look back at the best of the ACC. That's coming up.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all. At the Jeep Summer Clearance event, you can make this summer your time. Time to find your power and lose your doubts. Time to steer clear of the ordinary and make room for the extraordinary. Just like the deals you'll find at the Jeep Summer Clearance event.
You can't keep greatness in a box, so we won't. The ACC mobile app presented by Carrabba's. Imagine seeing this on this. That's greatness. For the ACC schools you live for, it's the app you can't live without. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Nokia Lumia Windows Phone. The ACC mobile app, live games, videos, scores, stats, news, and greatness. Visit theacc.com/apps.
Ever wonder where unforgettable experiences meet unique culinary pairings? At Ruby Tuesday with our new mixed grill specials starting at $11.99. Including our new South Tropic Trio with a black fire sirloin, grilled chicken topped with fresh mango salsa, and jumbo coconut crusted shrimp, or savory ribs and bacon wrapped shrimp. And our fresh garden bar comes free with any of our mixed grill specials. Ruby Tuesday, it's all good here. Plus, this season, buy $50 in Ruby Tuesday gift cards and get a $15 bonus card absolutely free.
Why not try someplace different every morning?
Get the Saturday selection.
Get 2 times the points on dining in restaurants with J Sapphire Preferred.
ACC Fan Fest before the big game tonight. We're getting close. 8 p.m. kickoff, Florida State and Georgia Tech. The fans having fun. There's Buzz helping have a little fun himself. Plays of the year. Check him out.
Bernard fields it at the 26. He's at the 50. No, he's not. Yes, he is. Gio, he's going to take it for a touchdown. Thomas wants the lead, has a man open. Caught, touchdown. Long strike, far side, touchdown. Has a man short, wants to go deep, wide open. Unbelievable touchdown, Miami. Strong throw, caught, Amadon, touchdown. Wow. Darrell Roberts has found a pair of scissors on the field. Well, went on that the wrong way.
Not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and Joes.
He may be a freshman, but he doesn't play like a freshman.
Here in Miami, it's the Duke Johnson show.
The freshman is something special.
Let me show you a little Sammy.
How about the show that this kid has put on today?
Tajh has just broken the school record here at Clemson. He has 50 career touchdown passes.
Thompson's got 197 yards against the team that broke his back, literally, last year.
Hopkins having a career night, looking good, like a bag of money right now.
Campanaro again! But can anybody cover him? Cuts back 20, stumbles, and he scores! James for the end zone, Miami wins! One of the great comebacks in Miami history.
For the upset. Glennon, touchdown, Wolfpack to the end zone.
Gone! Touchdown, Jake McGee! The kid does it again! Red free, has time, throws, caught! Touchdown, Duke! One of the biggest plays in Duke history.
That was a great look back at the 2012 ACC football season. Many of those great moments were on special teams. In fact, it's been a record-setting year in the ACC for kickoffs and punt returns. Riley, one of them stands out for you, right, as the play of the year in the ACC.
Without a doubt. And it was the first one we saw in that clip. It was Giovanni Bernard's punt return as time is running out against North Carolina State. I mean, it was a beautiful setup on the punt return team. They had a wall, and when you get the ball in your hands and you're Giovanni Bernard, there's nobody stopping you until you hit your head on the goalpost. And to do this in the fashion that he did against a rival team who they hate each other. And to do that at home, it was an offensive back-and-forth game. That was the wildest finish by far I've ever seen to a North Carolina State game, and it couldn't have happened for a better player because Giovanni Bernard has deserved everything that he's earned this year.
Over 1,200 yards rushing this year to lead the ACC, even though he missed a couple of games. So a fantastic year for Gio Bernard. All right, Dorsey, what was your pick for Play of the Year?
Well, it was a North Carolina State game, but it wasn't North Carolina State, North Carolina.
They were on the receiving end of the
No, it was for me, it was no doubt North Carolina State, Florida State. Big bad Florida State's coming into North Carolina undefeated, expecting to blow the doors off North Carolina State, jump out to an early lead. North Carolina comes back. Mike Glennon, clutch pass. They threw a couple of fourth downs on the drive as well. That by far, to me, is the biggest play of the year, and that's what started the whole BCS argument. And Jimbo Fischel went off on a rant because they lost the game and weren't ranked as high as they thought they should have been ranked. I think that was a defining moment.
That
of the
was
season.
the biggest set-off in the ACC,
no doubt
especially
about
in the
it.
middle of the year.
You know, the play I just thought of that I really enjoyed was Gio Bernard recovering the fumble. It was kicked around down the side against the Duke game, right?
Against Duke,
exactly. It wasn't an individual moment, but no doubt it was one of the most entertaining plays in all of college football this season.
At that point, you thought, another one of these Duke losses. Luckily, Duke came back and won that game.
It was like Duke finding a way to lose a game,
exactly.
But that was the one they won to get them to 6 wins and clinch a bowl game. Florida State, by the way, did recover from that NC State loss, as we know, and is now 60 minutes from a conference title. With today being the ACC Championship game, Riley's experiencing a sense of relief because no more picks after today.
I'm surprised there's not a trash bag over my head.
Last place behind the fans and Dorsey. Here's where we are right now. Dorsey 33-15. So Dorsey, if you pick differently from the fans tonight,
I will.
You got
and
to.
you win,
I will.
You will tie them.
Because I'm the man.
All right. At the stadium today, Kelly Nash has been asking fans who will win tonight.
Outside Bank of America Stadium is ACC Fan Fest. Now, I expected to see a lot of Florida State and Georgia Tech fans flooding the streets, but what I really found was something very different. An interesting surprise, have a few fans from the U. You guys know you're not playing today, right?
Yes, we do. Pretty sad.
Did you book your tickets ahead of time?
I did. I bought them a month ago, and then when they did the self-imposed sections, I was heartbroken.
That's unbelievable. Next year, right?
Absolutely.
Do you guys have a score prediction for me?
I think we're going to lose, sadly.
You're going to lose?
Sadly.
Now, you beat Georgia Tech. Do you guys think you deserve to be here?
No. No, not this year.
It was close against Florida State, though.
It sure was. If we'd have won, we'd be here.
This is bold. You're coming into the Seminoles ACC Championship game in a Gator jacket. What's going on?
That's right. Well, I just wanted to come and root for someone else, maybe Georgia Tech, you know.
So are you going to be that guy in the stands doing the Gator chomp?
Yes, I'm going to be that guy, definitely. Yeah.
Can you show it to us?
Definitely.
So, hardcore tailgating, huh?
As hardcore and soft tail, yes.
Soft tail. Is this how the Seminoles roll?
When I need to sit down, yeah, this is how I roll.
Now, except for that little Georgia Tech fan you saw who actually picked the Seminoles, did she really say that? Most fans think this is going to be a really close game. Definitely not a gimme. I'm Kelly Nash coming to you from ACC Fan Fest.
I'm definitely on board with getting rocking chairs for us up here for next season.
I loved that the Miami fans still came
anyway.
That's unbelievable. It's dedication. They spend the money. I'm going to give my tickets worth.
All right, so it's time now, guys. Time for the picks. Dorsey, you always go first. Shock us right now. Who are you picking?
I'm going with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And the little girl who says Sally, she thinks we're going to lose. Honey, let me tell you why we are going to win the football game. And last week I said Florida State. I picked Florida State to win the game, but that was based on those guys beating Florida. They lost the game. There will be a huge emotional letdown for Florida State today. Do you hear me? Huge. Defensively, the defensive coordinator is going to take the job at Kentucky. That's a distraction. Georgia Tech, all the goals they set at the beginning of the season are attainable right now. Reach the ACC Championship game, win, go to a BCS game. All that is right here, regardless of how we kind of slid in the back door to get into the game. Don't worry about that. We can only control what we can control. And what we control is at 8 o'clock, we have a chance to reach every goal we set this season. We're going to win this game.
You do have a chance, and you have the opportunity to reach those goals as Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, but you're not going to do it.
Riley disagrees.
I just don't think.
You agree with the little
and
girl?
I say, yeah, I agree with the little girl. I agree. I think Florida State's too good. And while I do agree with you, Dorsey, that with Mike Stoops, taking the Kentucky job, and you're playing Georgia Tech, it's all about assignment football. They've got to be coached up. Mark Stoops. They've got to be coached up if they're going to beat this Georgia Tech team and slow them down on offense. But I think they will be coached up. And I think Florida State's defense is just too fast and strong, and the offense is much faster, much better than Georgia Tech's defense.
Well, here's what I think, too.
State.
With the injury to Carradine at defensive end, you got the two young guys, Giorgio Newberry, Mario Edwards. Georgia Tech, they're going to run the triple option at those young defensive ends to see if they've been doing their homework for this weekend. We're going to find out shortly.
All right,
only
guys.
An hour away.
Agree to disagree. We'll figure out by midnight who's right. Thanks for being with us all season long here on ACC Kickoff Live. The game's coming up at 8 p.m.